Okay, so welcome to the masterclass. Today we are going to be going over the second chakra. We have spent a little bit of time the last few weeks going over the chakras. We talked about the three regions of the chakras, what the chakra means, and now we are taking time each week to break down each chakra, where they're located, what each one represents, and how you can work with the chakra. There are two aspects of each chakra that I want to take note of. First of all, there's what we call an inner aspect, which is going to be relating to the psychological aspect of ourselves, and then the physical. The chakras are energetic. They are not physical locations in the body. They are energetic locations. They influence the entire body as a whole. So when there's an imbalance in a chakra, it can show up in a lot of different ways. It can affect us physically eventually, psychologically, emotionally, and even spiritually cause limitations. The second chakra is the center of unconditional love and devotion. So when that chakra is in balance, and if you are able to open it, you will experience unconditional love towards yourself, towards others, and the whole world. There's like a union that'll take place. That chakra is located just above the pubic bone, and the definition of that chakra is self-abode. It's located below the navel, and it is part of the water element. So the elemental quality is that of water. And I want to talk about that a little bit, because if it's relating to water, the root chakra is relating to earth, and the second chakra relates to water. Both of those elements are part of the dosha kapha. So if you haven't had your Ayurvedic doshas evaluated, you contact me. I will help you with that. You should get an evaluation. It's really interesting to learn about what your particular combination of the elements are and how you can manage your life better and really better understand why you tend to have the imbalances you have and such. So when there's a disturbance in the second chakra, it's usually going to disturb the energy that moves up. So the disturbance of the lower chakras means that we are not able to effectively ground that energy, move the energy down. So, I talk in yoga about the different forces, and that is how I teach. I teach based on the vayus. I don't teach based on, oh, let's do a shoulder opening class, let's do a hip opening class. I do it based on the energetics of the postures. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the energetics. Balanced energetics of the two lower chakras means that energy flows down and elimination is good, proper. When there's a vitiation, it means that energy, those subtle forces start to move up. They move up and you start getting overstimulated. And when that happens, sometimes it can cause like an addiction to needing to overstimulate. And we know this, we've all experienced it, where you just want to keep stimulating yourself so you don't have to deal with life, right? So you watch TV, or you continue to go out and do things that have imbalances, when really what you need to do is just go to bed early. And so we overstimulate ourselves. That means that too much energy moves upward, and then we start to misuse our senses and overstimulate them. Chakra is functioning properly. The systems involved with your plasma, which is the water element, the fat tissues also relating to the water element, and the reproductive system and its organs. The organs of the reproductive system are the prostate gland, the testes, and the ovaries. So they are your genitals as well as the prostate gland. This center is sometimes called the sex center, but I want you to understand it more in the sense that it is a creative center. And when it is in balance, you will experience this unconditional love. It's such a beautiful place to be. And also the kidneys, because the kidneys are relating to a water and our ability to urinate, right? It allows for us to have urination. It moves through the ureters. The kidneys are also related to the center because they regulate the water in the body. So when there's a decreased flow, it can cause dryness. And that's including dehydration. But too much dryness of the tissues will literally become systemic. And there are lots of things that we are doing in the Western culture that are making us dry in our body. First of all, we live in a dry climate because we're in the mountains. And if you're in Colorado, you're in the mountains too. So Melissa, where you live, it is also dry. High altitude, that is dry. So that's going to affect our tissues. If there's smoke in the air, like what we're dealing with all these fires on the west, that is also going to dry tissues. If you are on medications, that also dries your tissues. Even taking too many herbs can dry your tissues. So we have to be aware of the center. It is a center that needs nourishment through the water element, and that means hydration. That means making sure that our plasma, our fat tissues, our reproductive system is all in balance, because when it's not, we don't feel nourished. That is psychologically, we don't feel nourished. And physically, we feel empty and fatigued. The sense that is related to this center is taste and the tongue. So the tongue and taste. So when it's balanced, you actually heighten your taste. When it's not in balance, and people, as they get older, they start losing their taste. That is a sign that you are not nourished, that you are dry in your tissues. Okay, so that's something to pay attention to. Psychologically, this center is responsible for desire, attachment, and feeling. And this isn't necessarily unhealthy attachment. When you create a baby, it's coming through that center, the reproductive system. And that is a natural, when you have a baby, there is automatic bonding that happens. That is healthy attachment. But if you have too much flow in this center, it will lead to this just never being satisfied, always needing more, seeking pleasure and needing more of it and more of it and more and more and more and more and more. And it's you realize it's just never ending. Decreased flow of energy through this center leads to lack of arousal, lack of motivation towards all action. So it's not just sexually. It means there's just a lack of there's not enough of what's in you to help you move forward in life. And that is kind of a tricky place to be, because that then gives you a feeling of being diminished. And then you can actually become numb to the experiences of life, and that can lead to depression. It's another form of depression. It's what we would call a vata depression, not a kapha. That's a whole nother thing. Healthy flow and opening leads to healthy commitment and healthy devotion and steady, unconditional love, infinite joy as well. It will abolish or get rid of passions that are relating to the pride, our ego or pride. That does not say that ego is wrong. We need ego in this world. We would not be able to survive properly without the ego. That's another topic. We'll talk about that another time. The mantra relating to this center is VAM, V-A-M, but it is pronounced V-U-M, VAM, VAM. And the color is dark blue. And you can use that. We're going to do a meditation for it later at the end of class. And you can use the color dark blue with the mantra, and that will help. That will help you kind of work with that center. And then according to Dr. David Frawley, who is a scholar in Ayurveda, the chakras have that outer and inner function. And remember, the outer function of the chakra relates to the physical body. The inner relates to the psychological. The chakras, just as a side note, they really can truly only be opened through inner practices. So you can go to somebody that says that they do chakra healing, but in Ayurveda and yoga, they would say, that's not necessarily possible that you can affect those centers. Those centers are going to open only through inner practices with breath work, pranayama, mantras, and then also meditation. So we will be doing that later. I also want to talk to you a little bit about when you are working with these mantras and working with opening the chakras, the most important thing in the beginning in yoga and all of it is to open up all of the centers. And that means that we have to actually cleanse the body. We have to do pranayama and exercises and meditations that help to clear out and open up all the energy centers. If you haven't taken the Tuesday class, it would be a great class for you if you're interested in opening those centers, because it's Qigong, Tai Chi blended with yoga. And the whole purpose of that class is to open up all of those energy centers. So give it a try sometime, see what you think. For now, that is the gist of the talk. And we're going to work into our practice a few different things today. We're going to be doing Kabbalah Bhakti, which is a cleansing practice. And we're also going to be doing a meditation at the end of class today. Okay? All right, so